Howdy, y'all, and hello, all. Welcome back to O State All Day. I appreciate you coming in, stopping by, see how the post-game wrap-up I have prepared is today. If you see, I wear my green shirt, and I'm rocking the green coffee cup. So thank you for stopping by to have a cup of Joe with me. The reason I'm rocking the green cup and the green shirt is because I feel like from the very beginning of the game, before the game even started, Baylor already lost the uniform battle. I'm not personally a big fan of the solid mustard yellow thing they had going, so we dominated the uniform battle from the very, very get-go, and luckily for us, it would transpire throughout the course of the game that we were prepared, right? And if you'd watched a couple of my other videos, I wanted to hit a couple, major keys for me, aka a little housekeeping, I guess you could say. So the reason that people get into watching sports shows, whether it be live broadcasts or just a synopsis afterwards, or whether it be a podcast, right? People like to find things that not only are just common knowledge, I think, but also shed a little bit more light on their team and how it was looked at from both sides of the aisle coming into the game. Everybody knew coming into this game it was going to be a pretty daggone good one. They're a good ball club. We're a good ball club. We haven't played a whole lot of anybody, so it was wait and see kind of if we were going to be able to carry the game like we needed to. Obviously, we did end up being able to do so. So if you've been watching my shows or if you saw on my Twitter, I released my picks and I have a couple videos of my Baylor breakdown of kind of what to expect and be ready for. And I said in those videos that it was going to come down to the running game and the D-line's capability to slow down the running game coupled with time of possession. And then obviously the natural is, Spencer doesn't get wild. Spencer played very well. One thing that we'd been doing in the previous games was moving very, very fast. Well, today we found an innate ability to play really, really fast and then somehow also win time of possession by a few minutes. That was huge for the game. We outrushed them 166 to 112. They were averaging 207 yards a game rushing. So our defensive line did exactly what I've been talking about and putting on Twitter. This was a creativity side for Derek Mason to be able to shed his shell, right? And he did do that. We did pick up the win. I also said that my pick for the score was 31-24. The end was 36-25. So I'd say I did pretty good right there. Currently, at the moment, I'm 7-2 on my picks. The only one that really I got shellacked in was OU. I didn't see them taking it on the chin like that to TCU, but they did. So good job, TCU. You're undefeated. I think this game does put us in the driver's seat for the Big 12, but you do have KU and TCU lurking right there. Baylor's still a quality opponent. They lost to a quality BYU club. We're a good team too. So according to even Brock Martin, when the game was over, the expectation is they probably rematch this at the end of the season. I'm still going to stick with my guns and say K-State's going to meet us in Arlington. So good job, K-State, today. Good job, KU. I picked them as well. I picked K-State as well. I picked the Fighting Leeches from Mississippi State. Picked Ole Miss. I picked BYU, but I don't think I put it out on Twitter or anything, so I don't know if we can necessarily count it. I did pick Arkansas to beat Bama, so I'm doing pretty good in that department. My keys to the game, obviously, I hit home runs. I hit home runs on the keys to the game, and I put my video out, I believe it was Tuesday. So these things that I'm talking about, guys, they're for you. And the more that I give knowledge that ends up being accurate information, obviously, the more credibility I get. The more credibility you have, the better your fan base can absorb information because they know it's not going to be diluted with things that are not accurate. I put the time in, I put the research in. Thanks for stopping back by again for the post-game report. My picks are doing good. To cover Oklahoma State specifically, again, we won the time of possession, which I knew was key. We won the running game as well, which I knew was key as well. Where they did hit us was exactly where I mentioned was at that depth, right behind linebacker, in between safety, we do still have a little bit of a weakness there. But another thing I mentioned was Xavier Benson and Mason Cobb both having pretty big games. And I also had mentioned that Mason Cobb has a little bit of that Malcolm Rodriguez, very, very quick twitch. He showed it to full display today. Xavier looked a lot better. When we were able to string plays out, we did very well. Richard Reese is a good running back, y'all, and we shut it down. Blake Shapen did exploit a little bit of that passing game. We had some gimme yards there at the end of the game and kind of a prevent defense. We caught them switching from cover 2 quite often, which was what allowed us to have a couple of the deep threats. We did go over top a couple times with them in cover 2, but we had to control the running game. And I'd mentioned earlier in my video from a day or two ago that Dominic Richardson's interview the other day, he was so confident. Brock Martin was so confident. Brennan Evers was so confident. And Brennan Evers, was pretty stoked about how good they were playing because he has a buddy from Tulsa named Noah that plays for the other squad. So it had a little bit of that brotherhood rivalry type thing mixed into it. Baylor and Oklahoma State have both been quality teams, so this is going to keep going, which is fun. Yeah, I think that what Dom did was prove why he's the starter. Ollie Gordon, the 4-star freshman, he played well when he was in. He did have that one fumble. Don't carry the ball like a loaf of bread, young man, as they say. So, yeah, Mason got to be creative. The defense played well. The defensive line did everything they were supposed to do. I figured we'd have a couple more sacks, but I alluded to that Blake Shapen is fairly elusive, not so much as Spencer Sanders, which Spencer Sanders running today was absolutely massive for the team. I'd also mentioned spreading it out. Both teams like to spread it out quite a bit. You see that statistically, right? Spencer Sanders led us in rushing with 75 yards. Dom was right there with like 73, 74, and Dom's were the perfect yards. You don't necessarily think 3.6, 3.7 yards a carry is great. It's not bad. The goal is always 4, 5-ish, right? So it's a little underwhelming just from a stats perspective. But if you watch the game, we knew, everybody in the country knew. From an O-line and a D-line perspective, Baylor's propped up as right there. I do think K-State's D-line is going to be somewhat comparable, but, we're not going to see a massive amount better. Now, here's a bone I do have to pick. Gundy has, seemed to course correct over the last couple seasons of not being the guy who punted all the time and played it Mr. Safe too often. We did see a little bit of that today. I know that that's been a concern for all Cowboy fans, which is why some of us thought maybe he'd hit a ceiling a few years ago because of his record in Bedlam is a good indication of how often he went far too conservative in times that you take a little bit more chance, right? And we could have been the bully in the backyard and proved it on that 4th and goal stand. Yes, we kicked the field goal. Yes, it made a 2-point difference. So in that mindset, I guess taking the points is not a bad move by any stretch, but it's also a time when, especially with the way we lost the Big 12 championship game, inches away, that we should have punched him in the mouth just a bit right there to send a little bit of a bigger message, I think. And, he did play it safe a couple times early on in the game. That punt decision that we ended up downing on the 1-yard line, that we ended up getting a safety off of. Yeah, that's a brilliant move, but you also got to take into consideration how early on it was into the game. Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense, but when you are stepping on the throat and you have the ability to put the game out of reach, this is something that Gundy does get a little bit reserved on for some odd reason. Let's stop taking the foot off the gas, right? Let's just keep going. The defense looked amazing. I knew we were being very vanilla the first few games. You got to see a little bit of the fun side today. We do take the driver's seat again. KU, K-State, obviously they've got some word in it. Baylor's not done yet. Tech is still a pretty good team. This is a loaded conference. I did put West Virginia over Texas tonight, so we'll see if that's accurate. But that adds to the parity of the Big 12 because that's not completely crazy. JT Daniels could do what he did last game, and he could carry him to a W. It very well could happen. The Big 12's probably the funnest conference right now from top to bottom. I would bet money that top to bottom we are the best conference at the moment. We have a shot at the CFP. This is why I don't like going captain conservative, Because, yes, it worked against Baylor. Will it work against K-State? Possibly. Will it work against OU? Possibly. Will it work against, let's say we make it to the CFP? Is punting a little extra heavy and going for things when you're not supposed to, but maybe you should anyways, and then kicking it instead of going for it. These things are going to add up if you're playing a Bama or a Georgia or even a Michigan to some degree, right? So I don't like the fact that he got too cozy, too comfortable, too quick. In my opinion, if you're stepping on the throat, let's just get her, dude, because we can. Another few things to hit on, guys. So from like the things coming in, we knew special teams was going to be a big factor. Gundy has said this is probably the best special teams unit he's had in his career at Oklahoma State University. So obviously it's a very big deal, but we did it today. I said the running back room was going to be huge. Nixon ended up taking it 98 yards for a house call. Did he do it in the backfield? No, we didn't necessarily need it in the backfield. DeAndre Jackson came in when he needed to, and he helped tremendously. The running back room controlled most of the game and most of the situation. That's where the winning side of this comes in. We've shown that if we need to score in 38 seconds, 28 seconds, 48 seconds, we can do that all day, every day. If we need to slow the game down a little bit and control things, that was huge. And it's a big statement because if you don't have the big hog mollies up front on both sides of the ball, you can't always be able to do that, as we've seen historically as Cowboys fans. So we were able to do that, and it made the atmosphere a lot more fun. That the running back room did, in fact, control. Shapen did play a pretty good game. Spencer Sanders did exactly what he was supposed to do. He controlled the game. Don't just say game management, because every time Baylor struck, we had to answer. We pretty much did. Every time we had to get down the field and answer, we did. It was phenomenal. And I think that's a good sign of things to come, because the defense is only going to get more explosive. Daniel Daniels looked great. This was a good building block. I think this does set the precedence for the Big 12 at the moment. The body by glass system's been brought up a lot. Guys, if you want the best coverage, the best information, you got to come see me. You got to tune in. And I talk about the things underneath the layers of the onion, like the body by glass system. Our strength coach is a legend. So all recruits out there, think about what Oklahoma State can offer. Kendall Daniels, perfect example. If you follow the money, honey, maybe he was going to A&M because he thought that he couldn't experience what he really wanted to. Well, then he realized when he went to Texas A&M, that wasn't the case. Everything he wanted to accomplish, conference championships, getting into the pros, he's got the prototypical body, playing for championships, whether it be conference, getting into the CFP, big-time bowl games. He knew he could do that here. And we've got 22 players in the NFL right now, so he knows that's a ticket now. We're going to keep being able to do this. This is going to be repeatable, as I've mentioned before. The way we put this stuff together, the family, brother aspect, it matters. It means something. It's not all about the coin. It's about the cachet of investment of people, right? So let's break down some of the grade type situations. I don't know if this is a factual stat, right? But Spencer said after the game that the O-line was virtually flawless, aka 100% score on pass pro. He said that he literally did not get touched at all during the right times of the pass protection. Obviously, we'll have to see a little bit of film. He might have been slightly disingenuous, but he may have been spot on, because the O-line did do very, very well. And the likelihood of us facing very many D-lines better than this one, very, very small. So this is good stuff going forward. Vernon Presley led the team with 8 catches. But one of the areas that I think we also beat Baylor was when I said we both threw it around a lot. We did that better today. So he had 8 catches right around the 75-yard mark. Johnson, he had a massive head topper catch, as the kids would call it these days. And that kind of thing is so refreshing to see. Bryson Green had a phenomenal catch, getting outside. Sione, I see, he was moving around a lot today. The D-line was shifting, stunting, moving, making, shaping, get out of the pocket, get uncomfortable, get off of his spots. Not as bad as Dylan Gabriel, stretching his feet that far. I'm not a perfectionist in any stretch, and I'm sure he's a 10 times better quarterback than I ever was. But, biometrics are biometrics, and if you have too far of a base of a platform, it's not centered right. That's why sometimes when you see quarterbacks throw it 65, 70 yards, and it looks effortless, like a Josh Allen type, it's because their body's just set up right. And Spencer did a good job today. If he's not on this Heisman stuff, you got to be kidding me. And you can't say that, well, he didn't put up crazy numbers. Did Bryce Young put up crazy numbers when it came to the Texas game? Absolutely not. Did he stay in the Heisman race? Yes. Why? Because he took control of the game and he answered in the end when he had to. Spencer led us on multiple drives when we had to answer, and he did exactly that. The receivers got their love. The running backs got the love, even in the kick game. Special teams look good. Shout out to Tom Hutton, our Aussie left-footed kicker. He does something a little bit different, and it's great that he's going to be able to kind of carry that legacy on, because we got another big-time kicker, I think, coming in. Oh, man, that victory coffee tastes good. Like I said, driver's seat. Xavier Benson played pretty daggone well. Mason Cobb proved that my comp to Malcolm Rodriguez, read and react, I was pretty accurate with that one as well. Collectively, the D-line, I would say maybe an A-, and it would have been better if, maybe a few more sacks. But Trace Ford has found a knack this year for batting the ball down, and when you're trying to shrink the game down a little bit, that kind of stuff is as big as a sack when it's in a crucial moment. So this game was exactly what we wanted to see. We hit all the points that we really needed to. Spencer could have aired it out for more 181 if he had to, but control of the game was important. We spread the love at receiver. Everybody had 40, 60, 70, 80 around yards. Spencer ran the ball well. Dom did exactly what he was supposed to do. He ran it down their throat when he had to. All he looked good other than the loaf of bread fumble. Nixon's return was amazing. I would give Tyler Lacey a B+. I would say Spencer Sanders gets a B+. I would say special teams gets an A+. Matter of fact, next time you check out O State, our long snapper, number 53, Himbro, he's probably going to go to the NFL as a long snapper. That's a rare thing because there's only 32 of them. And usually that's their specialty. That's what they do on a consistent basis. And we have somebody that is on that level. So, guys, keep tuning in, and we'll keep this thing going. I think Kendall had a B+ game. I think that the offense in and of itself had a B- B+ game. The backside of the defense played pretty good. They did leave that gap open, so it's still something we got to work on. Mason had a hell of a game. This was, again, guys, this was a good day. Gundy's comfortable because he dropped 2 poops in the post-game press conference, a.k.a. he dropped the S word twice. He's flowing. He's loose. He's happy. We are performing. We're in the driver's seat. I can't wait to see what KU keeps doing. Guys, as Cowboy fans, jump on that KU bandwagon. That's fun. That's good for everybody. Jalen Daniels deserves to be on the Heisman list, along with Spencer Sanders. So let the talk go because they've earned it. They're worth it. And we've got 2 legitimate guys that should be on the Heisman list. You had Dylan Gabriel on the Heisman list, and you saw in his game, he was overshoot. That was a whooping. That could be a video in and of itself. But I'll stay in my lane for the moment. Those were the things I wanted to drop off and cover. We did what we were supposed to do. We did it exactly how we were supposed to do it. I do think we sent a message. We could have sent a bigger message by clamping it down on the throat. Those couple of little indecisive moments I think Gundy had. Guys, keep tuning in, right? I'm going to give you the best coverage, and I'm going to give you it before everybody else. The breakdowns are huge. The communication gap is shrinking. Spencer does look very good this season. He deserves to be on the list. Put him and Jalen on the daggone list, y'all. The receivers got spread around. We spread it a little bit better than they did. I think that's kind of everything that I really needed to cover. It was a good day. It was a really good day. The Big 12 is strong. The parity is amazing, which makes the football even better. Keep coming back. Keep tuning in. I'll keep giving you the nuggets. I'll keep giving you the updates that I have coming to the channel. A lot of upgrades are about to happen. It's going to get better. I'm your guy. Come to me. I'm your source, guys. All right? Help me help you. Smash the like button. Leave me a comment. Let me know what I missed, what you guys would like me to sprinkle in a little bit more, a little bit later on. We'll break down this coming game against Texas Tech. Don't sleep on Tech. They're still a contender to some degree. We've got to get the throat concept and finish it off. Be strong. Make statements. Let's cruise on into getting in that top 5 here pretty quick. It's a good season, guys. Again, thank you. Love you. God bless. Go Pokes. We're undefeated. 4-0 in the driver's seat. Watch the Kansas schools. It's going to get a lot funner than it is already.